What's up, everyone? Dr. Brad here. Today, we're going to talk about something that stops more doctors from owning their practice than money, fear, or competition: perfection. Let me say this clearly. Your practice will not be perfect. And if you're waiting for perfect, it's never going to start, or the practice is never going to start. I feel like perfection is just procrastination with good branding. Let's talk today about how to take action, what action really matters, how I have been falling into this trap in the past, but just pushed through, and how to build a practice even when you're not ready or when you feel like you're not ready. For everyone who's new, my name is Brad. I help people start or scale medical practices. I own a multi-million-dollar practice here in Texas. And gosh, your practice is not going to be perfect, but you need to start anyway. I think a parallel to that, let me just talk about personally real quick. You could look to a couple of things that I'm doing. One is the project of, for those of you guys that follow my podcast or my vlogs, I put work into them. Are they perfect? Hell no. You can obviously look at my podcast and vlogs, not perfect, but I've met over 650 docs now at this point in time, or right around 650, just by building. Keep doing what you're doing. Same thing with my original idea. For those of you guys who followed me forever, I mean, y'all know I didn't even have my logo or anything on the door. And to this day, if I go straight to my website, there are some things on my own website that just make me cringe. I absolutely hate our locations tab. The schedule an appointment, I think there's so many ways to improve it. The frequently asked questions somehow is not split up into paragraphs, which is a freaking nightmare. But you know what? That's not stopping us. We're going to do somewhere between 28 and maybe 31,000 encounters like this year. Just absolutely insane when you think about it. And there's lots of room for improvement, but we're always striving to improve my practice. And I'm just throwing it out there to say, like, you should be striving to do the same. If you're waiting for perfection, it's not going to happen. You need to just build it. Perfection is the enemy of ownership. Look, I've said this before, but doctors are not conditioned to take chances and make maybe mistakes, but you need to get out of that mindset. Obviously, never with a patient. But when you're talking about building a business, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to spend, like I did, $3,000 on a freaking email marketing list that literally got me one person that clicked on that damn link. That patient, that conversion, my customer acquisition cost for that, $3,000 for one patient. I'm still like 2 years later, I'm still negative on that patient. There's no way I made my money back on that patient. But was it a mistake? No, it wasn't a mistake to try that avenue of branding, of marketing, of saying like, okay, maybe here's a email list of people in the city. Let me just go after that and see what happens. Spoiler alert, didn't go well. In business, it's the opposite of practicing medicine. Action beats caution every day, hands down. Speed beats planning. I mean, look at like Uber and Lyft. It's all about first market. Whoever gets first to market, a lot of times wins. And momentum beats perfection. Every week that I post another video, another podcast, another vlog, it somehow gets slightly better, maybe 1% better every week. And if I look back at my old videos, I'm like, damn, the old videos suck. But there's even my new videos, the new podcast. I think there's so much room for improvement, but I only have so much bandwidth. I can only improve so much without just hiring out a ton of help. And in the very beginning, instead of me sitting here telling you, hey, hire 10 people to do it and go a ton in debt, you can do it yourself, but just don't get caught in the perfection loop. Perfection is just procrastination at this point. You just need to do it. All right. So why, when I consult with a lot of you guys, let me give you some reasons on why doctors get stuck. Number one, the number one reason, I just need more time. If I just had 4 more months of planning, then maybe I could move on to the next phase. Why? You can change your logo. You don't like the logo, who cares? All right. It's not like people are going to go out there and tattoo this to their chest. Get a logo, get on Fiverr. And if you don't like it, iterate it, move on, change your logo over time. No one is looking at your logo as much as you are. No one's even going to think about it as long as it's not terribly ugly. Just get a logo, move on. I need everything absolutely perfect. I think because a lot of physicians are just absolute perfectionists, there's a lot of you guys that are like, oh, no, this needs to be perfect and that needs to be perfect. And I need someone to proofread all this other stuff. You know how many times like someone has told me I absolutely hate writing. That's why I've moved into vlogs and podcasts. But I just like start spitting it out. I just put the word vomit down on paper. And the problem is that I tend to get in these like creative modes where I'm just like vomiting every single thought that I have. But the problem with that is that I don't go back and proofread it sometimes. So even on my own current website or, back in my previous website, I'd have patients coming in being like, hey, on this page 3 over here, that you got a misspelling? Oh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I'll fix it. And I try to fix it as fast as I can, but I'm not going to lie. One of you guys told me that there's a misspelling on my current website, and I totally forgot where it's at. So I got to find it and look back at that. But my website's not currently perfect. Still got over 650 of you guys, or about 650 of you guys that I've consulted with. Does it need to improve? Hell yeah. And I will improve it, but it doesn't need to be perfect. The other one is I don't know enough. I would say probably 9 times out of 10, I hear the excuse, well, I don't know anything about business. All right, cool. You know what? Sometimes being naive is the best place to start, because I think a lot of business owners, if they look back, especially in like just brutal industries where there's a lot of regulation like healthcare, sometimes you'll hear like entrepreneurs being like, man, if I would have known how hard it would be, I don't know if I would have done X, Y, and Z. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be hard, but to some degree, use that naive kind of excitement to your benefit of just saying like, you know what? I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do this anyway. And I could pivot if that doesn't make sense. Experience is going to be the best teacher you can get, well beyond any podcast or YouTube video that I could give you, and well beyond any textbook that you could read it in. You don't need an MBA. The next one that I'll throw out there that a lot of you guys say is that I've noticed there's a fear disguised as doing a ton of research. A lot of you guys, myself included, not hating on any of y'all, but a lot of y'all will say, well, I'm doing a lot of research about X, Y, and Z, maybe my competitor, maybe how I should price things, maybe what I should do. It feels like work that you're doing, but you're really procrastinating. How many times can you look at your competitor's DPC pricing and say like, well, Tina over there is charging $15 more than what I wanted to charge. Should I charge that or not? Charge whatever the hell you want. If it's too high, take your cost down or take your price down until you start getting customers. If it's too low and you got people beating down the door, then say, oh, okay, you know what? January 1st, FYI, we're going up 20%. You're going to lose some people, but then you get the price that really matters. You adjust over time. But this fear of making a decision is just procrastination. It's a fancy term for procrastination. You're not doing research. At a certain point, it's moved well beyond research and it's procrastination. The way I like to think about this is even with myself, I'll think about like those guys that are like super healthy that come into the clinic. And I'm like, man, what's the secret? What's the secret? Is it diet? Is it exercise? You look amazing. I'm looking at this guy with like freaking abs that are just absolutely ripped. And I'm envious of him being like, Jesus, I wish I could look that fit. And the secret is I'm not making it a priority. It is not a priority to the point where I am doing it. I'm not showing up to the gym every single day to put in the reps, to put in the effort. And if you're not actually doing it, I'm watching like all these videos about how to eat healthy and do all this stuff. No, it's procrastination. I am not hitting the gym and doing what I should be doing. And I just throw this out there to say like, have you reached a point of procrastination? That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Identify it and move on. Take action and you can always change. Again, you don't like the logo, you don't like your pricing, you can always change things. There are very few things that you're going to like cement in stone. Like Jeff Bezos likes to say, are there two-way doors or one-way doors? If I overprice my services, I charge $500 a month and there's no takers, I could easily cut that in half, $250 a month, see if there's anyone. No one there? Okay, let's cut it in half again, $125 a month. It is not a one-way door where you price it at $500 a month and there's no way to ever change your prices in the future. That is tattooed on everyone. Or your logo, you're not tattooing it on everyone's arm that walks through the door. It's a two-way door. You don't like the logo? Freaking change it. So what actually matters to start a practice? You don't need to be perfect. It needs to be functional. First, you need a place to see patients. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be clean, safe, available. I've consulted with you guys. I like to have the wife rule. If my wife broke down in that parking lot at 10 p.m., would she feel safe changing a tire or calling me to change the tire? If the answer is hell no, my wife would be kind of like, this is a really shady area. I'm not going to a clinic there. I'm not building my business there. The next thing you need a way to collect money. It's never been easier. You can get on Square, Stripe. Most medical records have integrated payment processing in there. It is so easy to just turn that on in a matter of days. Then you need a way to document care. Again, EHRs. Those are so cheap now. AdvanceMD is $600 a month. eClinicalWorks, probably about the same, $600 a month at this point in time. You can get an amazing medical record that does reputation management. It'll let you document. It'll make you prescribe, or it'll let you prescribe prescriptions. Everything is HIPAA compliant. And you can do billing and submit to insurance for $600 freaking dollars a month. Amazing deal. Then as you grow, you're going to need a staff member to share the load. It's not going to be perfect. My first person, for those guys that have been following along, know that I hired this lovely lady. And what was it, like a month or two in, she ended up opening to a patient that she was a recovering addict. And I never forget walking through that door where the patient was like, I just think it's so amazing what you're doing, hiring recovering heroin addicts. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, what? I had no freaking clue that my PA, or not PA, excuse me, my medical assistant is a recovering heroin addict. One, good for her. I'm glad she's clean. But two, holy crap, I would have been nice to know before it got to this point. So much for a background check. That didn't find anything. It wasn't perfect. She ended up relapsing. She doesn't work for me anymore. She's doing great now because after the last time I talked about her, I reached out to her. She is doing lovely now. She's working for another clinic. She's doing great. Hire someone who cares, train them, and move on if it's not the right fit. You can still wish them well. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but if they're a bad fit, fire them and move on. The next thing you're going to need is a marketing engine. This is where most doctors stall. They absolutely hate selling themselves. You don't need the perfect brand. Again, back to the logo. Doesn't matter. I had like 9 colors of different shades of green whenever I started. Didn't matter. I still grew to 5 locations. You need visibility. You need a Google My Business page and reviews. You need to tell people that you exist. Those people need to tell people that you exist. You need to provide amazing care. It can be built as you go. Payroll, you can fix that later with like Gusto or QuickBooks. I mean, as long as you're obviously following all the rules, you can figure that out as you go. But first step is like, get your business going, find a location. The phones, your phone trees are always a problem. Those can always be fixed later. Credentialing, maybe some of the insurances are dragging their feet. Those can come with time. As long as you have the big boys in your area, usually at least 3 of them, Medicare, Blue Cross, and United. If Cigna or Aetna is coming later, fine, add them on later. Your workflows, the standard operating procedures, I had none of them when I started. You can improve those later. Build the minimum viable practice, not the perfect imaginary one. There's a compounding effect to this. Every week, my system gets a little better. Every month, the team gets more efficient. Every quarter, our numbers get tighter. Every year, the brand gets stronger. I'm building a machine, not a masterpiece. It's not perfect. If one of you guys looked at my practice and said, well, Brad, this sucks, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, it's a work in progress. All right. There may be some misspellings on the website that need to be improved. I'm working on it. There may be some areas on the scheduling that could be more aesthetically appealing, but you can still book an appointment amazingly quick online. I never paid for $3,000 a month SEO, or I never paid for all this stuff. Would it have helped me? Hell yeah, it would have. But I think the thing that I did that separates me from all of my competitors that complain about why their job sucks and they're still living that crappy life that they don't want to be in, because otherwise, why are they complaining it to me? Is because I just freaking did it. It wasn't perfect, but I did it. Momentum creates clarity. Clarity then creates confidence, and confidence creates scale, and you can scale the hell out of that. The entrepreneur version of first do no harm is first just freaking do something. Your practice will never be perfect. Mine wasn't. It isn't. Nobody's is. But perfection doesn't make you money. Momentum does. The longer you wait, the more expensive waiting becomes. Open the practice. Fix it in motion. Learn fast. Grow fast. Provide amazing care. And remember, action cures fear. If you're serious about starting scaling your practice, hit follow, send me some questions. All my links are down below. I'll be happy to help you get moving. Thank you for following along. I'll see you guys on the next one.